Hey, and welcome back to Hold My Popcorn. I'm Max Healy, and we have Timmy Boy, John, and Mr. Preble with us this week as we watched what some of us on the show might consider to be the greatest movie in film history in John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China, starring Kurt Russell.
So, John, I think we should just probably sit back and let this go where it goes, because I don't think we're going to have much to contribute between Mike and Max.
Just waiting for me and Preble to put our pants back on.
Yeah.
So Tim, I take it that you're in my camp where it's like this movie didn't quite melt your butter in that way, or quite, turn over them engines for you. If we're going to talk like a trucker or try to channel that.
I love this movie, but I have to say,
and I agree.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
I'm with you, John. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It came
not a religious experience.
Yeah.
What did you think this movie was going to be? Because the first time I saw it, I had no idea what the fuck I was watching either.
So I didn't think it was going to be like super like magical type shit. I thought it was going to be more like what's the actor's name? Jesus Christ, not Swayze.
Kurt Russell.
Oh, Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, yeah. Jesus Christ. Should have been Patrick Swayze.
Same hair in this movie.
So I thought it was going to be more like, there's a girl who just got like snake-headed on like some boat over from fucking China, and he has to like get her out of Chinatown. And it's like, it wasn't going to be super like magical and crazy, but I thought it was going to be really, really offensive, which it was really offensive. So that didn't disappoint, but I didn't think it was going to be so magical.
Okay.
Tim, it was almost like I saw this for the first time, because I did technically see it once before. It was at my bachelor party, like with Max, and I remember laughing, I remember crying, I remember being afraid and safe at the same time. And I remember none of it. The only thing I remember going into this was open mind, buddy. Open mind. Like, I had to give myself a pep talk. Like, nothing's too weird. Especially later in the movie, where out of nowhere, a giant snail monster that's like the size of a Volkswagen comes out of a hole and just eats somebody.
Catfish dragon.
Yeah.
God.
Never explained. That's how aneurysms happen, because of questions like that where you never get that answer.
I fucking love that part.
So can I ask, like, what is it about this movie, Preble and Max, what is it about this movie that you just find so appealing?
I'll let Preble. You can go first.
Sure. I just like it because it's like it combines all the things I enjoy about like a bad movie.
Right.
But I enjoy it so much because you have Kurt Russell, and he's doing like a bad John Wayne the whole time, and he is like a real character. He's just like, he's always just so like whatever. Like, he's just been thrown into this, and it's just so enjoyable. So like that, and like also just like some of the characters they have in there, I'm like, why are any of these people here? Mm-hmm. And why do they have these professions? And everything is just so odd. But then it's like, oh, by the way, like, to your point, Tim, it's like, oh, this is just going to be like, it's going to be like Escape from New York with Kurt Russell. Yeah. But it takes a hard right turn. And then you're like, oh, actually, this is like pure magic, like Chinese black magic. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's like 80s movies and 80s synth, and like everything about it just like really appeals to me. And obviously we'll talk about it, but like the final area where they have this big battle, it's just like fucking like you've been transplanted to like Hong Kong. Everything there, all the lights and all that stuff. It's just like, oh yeah, this perfect. This like, it's just a wonderful something to watch that you don't really need to pay too much attention to, because like half the shit doesn't make sense. Like,
pay attention to
a lot of the stuff they're doing. It's so enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I've got ADD, and I think that's probably why I like it so much. It's because this is a movie for ADD people. Hold on. Something wrong with my fucking mic.
I had whiplash watching this. It does jump. You're right.
So, I mean, I love John Carpenter movies. I love, like, his whole aesthetic vibe that he has. I mean, I love his music. I love Kurt Russell. I love the fact that this is like the only movie where the hero of the movie is actually the sidekick, and the sidekick is the hero. I gotta just turn off this whole fucking audio. It's driving me nuts. Okay, Jesus Christ. Anywho, and it's also just like one of those movies that is better to watch like with a group of people. Like, it's much better to watch with a group of people. And to mention, like, how John's bachelor party. So, like, I specifically bought this movie for John's bachelor party. Honestly, it's like, I can compare it to, like, Anchorman in the sense that, like, you never get a break ever in this movie. It is just nonstop chaos. And there's just constantly things happening that just, like, in my head, I'm just going, like, I can't believe that this is actually in a movie. I can't believe they actually did that.
Yeah.
I got the sense that Kurt Russell had zero clue about the script. I got the sense that he had no clue, and every scene was a surprise to him because he seemed shocked in every scene.
So he was fully on board. Like, he knew exactly the movie that it was going to be.
Yeah.
And he kind of wanted to do something like that. He thought it was also going to be funny to just play this, like, arrogant, cocky, klutzy douchebag who just thinks that he's in charge, and then the second anything happens, he just fucks it up, like, immediately.
It's great.
Yeah.
But the thing too, okay, go ahead, Preble.
No, I was gonna say it's just kind of like, yeah, it's just, in a sense, it's just like it's a very, like, simple story. You know, it's just like, okay, girl gets kidnapped, like, hero rescue girl, like, group of people, like, unlikely team, whatever. But it's just like, and I like it because of, like, some of just, like, these, like, very clunky, like, very 80s things they do throughout it, where they, like, explain who Lopan is in, like, a classic 80s way.
Lopan,
like, oh,
you mean the man who's in charge of the blah blah blah? Like,
exactly. Like, they do this.
I love it.
Like,
love that scene.
Like a 10 second to, like, 30 seconds, they tell you who he is, why he's the bad guy, and, like, how he's important to this, and they set up all these little things. It's just like really ham-fisted, and they're
So
just like,
ham-fisted.
we don't want to take time to, like, you know, exposition to explain this. We're just gonna cut to the action, which is, like, the whole point. You know, it's like minimal thinking. They're like, oh, they just told me everything I need to know. Okay, thanks. And then you just watch them, you know, fly through the air and, you know, do whatever the fuck they do with dope ass synthesizers behind it. It's just hilarious.
Now, to that, the subtle beauty of this film is the fact that if you were, you know, looking at your, you know, homicidal cat just, like, losing its shit in a corner or something, and you missed that little 15-second snippet, like, blah, this is the bad guy, and you came back and you didn't have that context, doesn't matter. You're still going to enjoy the movie, and you won't ask a question. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. You know, yeah.
It's
I
great.
mean, they like make it really obvious. They, like, keep reminding you, like, where they are. You know what I mean? They're like, I can't believe we're in the caverns, like, the, you know, the dead forest. It's like, oh, cool, they're still there. Great, thank you. Like, I made dinner while watching this with Michelle. Like, that's what we did. We watched it, and then it was like, okay, good. And I'd, like, check back, and I'd, like, make a note, and I'd be like, okay, but, like, you never lose it, like, a beat.
So here's a good quote from Jack Burton to kind of just describe what's happening in this movie. What the hell does that mean, huh? China is here? I don't even know what the hell that means. All I know is that this Lopan character comes out of thin air in the middle of a goddamn alley while his buddies are flying around on wires, cutting everybody to shreds. And he just stands there waiting for me to drive my truck straight through him with lights coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
That's the movie.
They just explained exactly what the scene was.
Yeah.
Even to the extent that they're jumping off of wires.
That's, I mean, it's just so good. It just plays on, like, a lot of wonderfully dumb levels, and I just enjoy it so much.
Like, audience, we usually don't, you know, pad everything up as much before we, like, jump into a movie. But, like, for those who've ever seen Buckaroo Banzai, it's that level of weird. But this, you just need to be prepared. Like, this, you just need to have a little bit of context to go into it to understand even remotely what the fuck is going on. It's very strange. It's very beautiful. It's very
One of the
though.
John,
It's
one of
just-
the writers wrote Buckaroo Banzai, so that's why it makes so much sense. It's the shit like in Buckaroo Banzai when they're, like, running by something and they just look, they're like, we'll deal with that later. And then they just, like, keep on going. It's like, what? It's the same
Oh, yeah,
shit.
it's one of the best lines ever. What's that watermelon doing there?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it later.
I'll tell you
And
about it
they just
later.
never bring it up again.
No, not even a problem.
So this movie bombed in 1986 when it came out. It did not do well. And I think there's several contributing factors to that. I think one of them is just the fact that John Carpenter, he called this movie an action adventure comedy kung fu ghost story monster movie, which is very accurate and also really hard to sell to an audience.
Yep.
It's just too many things, right? It's just, like, too many.
It is. They marketed it like a Indiana Jones knockoff, which it is not at all.
No.
And then it's closer to like Ghostbusters or something than like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And then also it's just people didn't know what to expect from Kurt Russell. They thought it was going to be a serious role. The way they did the trailers, it wasn't really that silly. And I got just some numbers here, just kind of looking back at it. So, I mean, this was the fourth Kurt Russell, John Carpenter movie in 7 years, and then the third in 5 years at the time. So the last two movies he had done prior were The Thing and Escape from New York, where Kurt Russell plays like a very stone-faced, stoic, like no-nonsense character. And then he's this guy, which is the complete 180 of anybody else he played in a Carpenter movie.
Yeah, he went from being a drunk in Antarctica pouring whiskey on a cheating, quote, air quotes here, chess machine, because it just beat his ass every time he was so drunk, to, just being scared of his own shadow in some cases, and also does not know how to shoot a gun to save his fucking life.
Which is
in this
amazing.
movie.
We'll get into that later, too.
Which is,
Uncharacteristic.
but again,
Yes.
just goes to like, it's like, you think he's going to be like, again, he's like Snake, right? From Escape from New York. And he's like, not. He's like an idiot. He's like, he's like, oh, the safety's on. Oh, goodness. You know, he's like, doesn't know dick, right? He doesn't know anything. He just has a knife, which he doesn't know how to use. Throughout this entire movie, he demonstrates that he cannot use this fucking knife to save his life.
No,
you know what
man.
I mean? And it's so enjoyable. So funny.
He's a road poet, dude. He's a road poet, man. They start off with him just laying down knowledge on the road, on the open road. America.
Let's get
Real
into
stuff,
it, too.
Just putting it out into the airwaves. No, Max.
Yes.
No.
I'm not done
I'm a
talking about the
sovereign citizen
road.
unto myself. I do not recognize your authority here. Okay.
Sovereign citizen.
So
I didn't side my ID.
getting into it though. So that cold open of this, just which doesn't fit the movie at all, is very, it's because it wasn't supposed to be in the movie. The studio didn't think that Jack Burton was heroic enough, so they made Carpenter refilm the opening scene where Egg Shen literally says that Jack is heroic. That's the only reason why they did that whole scene. So just kind of skipping through that whole part.
Yeah. Again, I do love it though, right? That like he's talking to a lawyer. Why is he talking to a lawyer? Like, is there some like lawsuit against Egg Shen? Like, how do they know that? Isn't this some kind of clandestine shit? Like, why would it's like, oh, you blew up half the city block? It's like, how do you know it was him? Like, how do we, it's just like, they're like, we just want to start at the end so that we could like then begin at the beginning. I was like, oh, okay, fair. But it's fucking, again.
It appears that he's talking to a defense attorney.
Yeah.
Like, not a prosecutor. He's talking to,
No.
he's like, first of all, like, why does he need a defense attorney? But anyway, it's like the defense attorney's talking to him like he's like, well, then I can't help you with a deal. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you're supposed to, that's not the point of you. That's not your job.
Also, Kim Cattrall was a lawyer, so like they can't even explain. He's like, oh yeah, like I'm Kim Cattrall's character's friend. Like none of that.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't fucking know who Kim Cattrall is in this movie. Just
Right.
say that he's heroic. Say that a white guy is the hero of this movie.
Just to be really clear.
But really, this scene accomplishes a lot because for the audience, if you've never seen it, is it preps you. It gives you subtle warnings. This is the kind of shit you're going to deal with the rest of the movie. Like if you hear the lawyer talk like, yeah, you blew up the block in green fire. And everyone's like, what? Green fire? What the fuck? And you like kind of do that. And then all of a sudden you got, Egg Shen across from you shooting lightning bolts in between his hands. And it's like, what the fuck? And then the movie actually starts. And so you're already in the headspace. Does a good job of just breaking you down.
So let's get into that real opening, the real Carpenter opening with some laser synth accompanied by mid-'80s guitar licks as we're introduced to old Jack Burton, played by the always great Kurt Russell, just rambling off a bunch of nonsense over his CB radio while taking aggressive bites out of his sandwich.
Road poet, okay? Road poet.
The largest sandwich in the history of cinema.
The biggest
sandwich
bites.
is huge. The entire
Dude,
time it is out
The
of control.
forearm strength, though, just to hold that thing together and eat it as aggressively as he did is impressive.
He's never driving
While-
that truck with two hands on the wheel the entire time.
He's either
Nope.
talking to people on his radio or he's just like chowing down on this gigantic sandwich, like 3 sandwiches in one.
He's getting
While wearing
whiplash.
sunglasses in the rain.
Yes, I wrote that down too. So, sunglasses and cowboy boots driving a truck at night in the rain.
Literally
So, yeah,
doing a Donald
fucking
Trump
love him.
impression of driving a truck.
I always smile the second I see the truck, the Pork Chop Express, that's the name of the truck. The second the Pork Chop Express comes on the screen, I just start smiling because he's going like 85 miles an hour in the middle of this 1-lane road.
I
Just
know. This
bombing
looks like
up and down.
It looks like a dirt road as well, and he's just hauling ass to go to like San Francisco Chinatown or where it's like how far away are you? Like where are you? What major route are you on that you're going to like a major urban hub? But this is the most direct route for you to get there.
He's going through like Sausalito, just bumping up and down before it goes to the Golden Gate.
God, it's so fucking funny.
He just likes to take the scenic route, man. That's all.
Yeah. Yep. He would have some Jack Burtonism response to that too, that we just can't even
Jack
imagine. So
Burtonism.
just move on.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so Jackie goes on this all-night Chinatown gambling bender with his buddy Wang, which ends with Wang losing on a double or nothing bet. So in order to ensure that he gets paid, Jack agrees to drive his friend to the airport so he can meet up with his green-eyed Chinese fiancée named Mao Yen. I'm going to fuck up all these names.
Oh, Miao Yen. Yeah, Meow. It's basically Meow, I
Meow.
think, is how they pronounced it, which does not mean that is actually the way to pronounce it. Come to think of it. Sorry.
It's just so racist. It's just so racist. I mean, his name is Wang, and he goes, "Oh, her eyes are like a precious jade."
Well, he actually doesn't even have an accent, though.
No, I know.
Give him credit for that. Wang doesn't. Like, Wang
No,
sounds
I
like he's
know.
from the States.
I'll give him
but
credit,
everything
like,
that he's saying is very stereotypical Asian.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, he calls them creamy jade, and I'm like, I don't think jade's supposed to be creamy.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be jade. You know what I mean?
No.
If there was jade that had a little bit of like white cream in it, I think people would be like, this is fucking useless. I'm going to throw this
No.
away.
It's a lost art form. It's called milking the jade.
Oh.
We'll talk about that off
That
air.
makes sense.
That's
Also,
totally
somewhere
totally illegal.
Somewhere also the Department of Transportation is having a heart attack. The fact that Jack Burton literally stayed up all night, drank beers, and it was just like, all right, time to get back in my truck. Start hauling. No, it's like, wait, hold on.
That was the first time I noticed that. That was the first time I noticed that. I'm like, wait a minute, he's been up all night, and then all this shit happens, and he's
Yeah,
been
exactly. They've
drinking all night.
beers the
Where
entire
do you
time.
park a tractor trailer truck at a fucking airport?
Where do you park a tractor trailer park in a fucking side street in Chinatown?
Yeah, that's
know,
a
yeah.
better. That's a better.
He drives literally to like the wet market there, and they're just like, okay, here we go. And he just gets out. And it's like, wait, hold on, stop.
So, and then also this makes so much more sense in the next scene too, when he talks to Kim Cattrall, and she's like, Miller time to him. Fucking just reeks.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. But sorry, John, were you going to say something?
No, I mean, this guy's just old school trucker, man. He's just going to drop his load wherever he wants to, and you can take that however you want. And he'll get it there.
So at the airport, Jack tries to hit on lawyer Gracie Law, played by Kim Cattrall, but he gets interrupted by a Chinese street gang called the Lords of Death, who try kidnapping Gracie's friend, but then they settle for Wang's fiancée instead. Son of a bitch must pay.
So why were they trying to kidnap Gracie's friend?
I think just as a sex slave.
Yeah, that's right. Because then they take her to that place like that, whatever you want to,
yeah.
It's one of those random explanations later in the movie that, like, kind of like Mike was talking about, where they just like explain something very key for about 3 seconds. Boom, there it is. If you don't catch it, it's like, oh, there it goes. But they explain it way later. Yeah, it's like, why even?
Yeah, apparently these guys just go to random, just go to the airport randomly and just try and steal Asian women. That's like what they literally just drag them out with dope sunglasses, the greatest sunglasses I've ever seen in my life.
Very diverse set of sunglasses, too.
I know. God.
Dude, I mean, when you roll hard, though, with a name like the Lords of Death, like, I guess you got to stand by it. That's all. I mean,
very
they
true.
look cool and they do terrible stuff.
So
It's true.
this is also the first instance of Jack being confused and way out of his league when one of the gangsters like pulls out a knife and a baton stick, and Jack just goes, "What? Where'd you get that?"
It's the first of many what? Like, huh?
Yeah, what?
Like the whole through the entire movie is probably like 100 more to come.
There's
What?
a YouTube compilation video of just like Jack Burton being confused, and it's like 7 minutes long. I'm just going like, "What?"
I have to say, like, his level of, just like undeserved arrogance and incompetency is the one thing that really does play in this movie. Like, I'm like, okay, I see you tried to make that work, and it worked.
Yeah, the macho persona that he's trying to put on.
Wow.
And then, like,
We're gonna
just-
call that one a Tim golf clap. That was very.
I saw him and I'm like, oh, this is like he's gonna be like fucking the Roadhouse. He's gonna be like the trucker version of Roadhouse. And he was
Except
not.
that he's just the guy in the bar at Roadhouse.
Yeah, exactly. He's the guy that's getting his ass kicked by Swayze.
Yeah. You want to kiss my girlfriend's titties? He's
Yeah.
that guy, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. So soon after this, Jack pulls his stupid big ass truck down this back alley where he and Wang stumble into an over the top ancient Chinese gang battle featuring kung fu machine guns, swords, broken legs, necks, and arms, as well as at least one dick stabbing. Then, right when you think this fight can't get any more insane, 3 Mortal Kombat characters explode out of a bunch of green smoke and start killing everybody.
Yeah, they just mosey their way down this back alley that somehow like the city planning commission in San Francisco like forgot about. They just like don't have that on their plans. So it's been taken over by Mortal Kombat. By a Mortal Kombat gang. It's fucking Banana Land. It's hilarious.
It's insane.
So,
Look at
yeah,
it.
I was gonna say somewhere they just were like, "How about we have Raiden in this? Why don't we just have Raiden, 2 other guys?"
So the creators of Mortal Kombat admitted that they created Raiden based off of this movie. They said 2 of their characters were from this movie. So
Really?
like, yeah, so that assassin trio is Raiden, and then also the main villain Shang Tsung was based off of Lopan.
Wow.
Oh my god. Like, but they didn't think to include like one finisher that involved the lethal back scratchers that one
I
of
know.
one of the guys,
What
the
the fuck was
assassins
that?
has. It's like, what the fuck?
It turns into like a wind
Predator
turbine.
claws.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
oh my
the one
god,
where he
yeah,
just
like,
puts
no
the hands
control.
out and they
Yeah.
just spin. I was like, who's getting hurt by this?
Yeah.
Other than him, do you know what I mean? Like you have to go right up to someone's face, or I don't know what it would be, but God, they tried to make him look so badass. I was just like, this does not work.
It's so dumb.
Well, honestly, they all just lean on Lightning Bolt guy. That's it. The
Yeah.
rest of them just look pretty. And then you got Lightning Bolt guy.
Oh, dude.
There's like only one guy who can do the lightning shit. And he seems to kind of prop up the team a lot.
For sure.
I mean, if you're gonna wear a hat that basically renders you blind, you better have lightning bolts like coming out of your hands, or else you're probably not gonna be that effective.
I was gonna say, you gotta have something.
Yeah.
Also, this is also the first instance in which Jack brings a knife to a gunfight. He's just sitting in his truck holding a knife.
I know.
Yeah.
And just doing elbows out.
Again, and that's what I love too. It's like, so you just drove a gigantic truck down here and then you didn't see anybody coming. There's like literally 2 armies of people. We didn't notice any of them.
Yep.
It's hundreds
We
of
drive
people.
down these tiny streets.
But the best part, though, that starts the whole like fight between like the 2 groups that just happen to throw down like you're straight out of Judge Dredd in the middle of Chinatown in San Francisco is, you got Jack and you got Wang inside of the cab closed. He's got the knife up and he's getting ready to say something. Wang's like, shh, don't say anything. What is it? Don't make a sound. Like,
Yeah,
What?
don't make it sound.
What?
Exactly.
The who?
What?
You're in a tractor trailer truck, Wang. You're not inconspicuous.
Literally in the middle of a funeral. That's like if we just like parked a car and then there was like literally like the funeral procession where it came right by. It's like, don't move. Their vision's based on movement. It's like, hold on. Like,
What about glare from the bumper of this truck?
I know.
Hauling ass.
I got to say, great aim on those folks, though. Not a scratch on that truck, no matter how many bullets were fired. Not a scratch.
That is true. Or people that he runs over. Yeah. Yeah, so Jack is looking really stupid and confused, decides to drive his way out of this war zone, where he promptly runs over the powerful sorcerer Lopan, who literally came out of nowhere. However, Lopan is unharmed and turns around and gives an even dumber look at Jack before blasting him with a face load of lasers.
Which apparently does like nothing.
No. Don't look, Jack! I already did!
And
He just
exactly.
throws a bunch of like dirty water in his face from a fucking pothole in Chinatown.
Yeah, that made him blind.
I literally just had one line about this scene. I just had Mortal Kombat and dirty water. I was like, what the fuck is happening here? Lopan just like literally, first of all, when he sees him, it's just like giving him like the come here, like keep coming. And I was like, what the fuck? Runs him over or whatever, gets out, blinds him with light. And everyone knows he's like, what? He's like, oh, it's just temporary. Don't worry. I'm like, is it? Why would that be? Why would this thing, why this all powerful, demon guy, why is that true?
This West Coast ghost that can just, the weird stuff, like the light that he shoots out of his eyes and his mouth, They never explain that.
Nope.
Nah.
Ever.
Nope.
Ever.
And it looks terrible both times.
So who's the actor who plays
As
Lopan?
far as I'm concerned, it's like a fucking Pokemon attack. Like, seriously, it's just like the Flash attack. Like, ugh, it just comes out of his mouth. Ugh, never explain it.
So the guy who plays Lopan, it's David something. He was he's been in a bunch of shit. I mean, he was the dad in Wayne's World. If you remember, it's from that.
And
Yeah,
he's
Wayne's World 2.
Cassandra's dad. That's what I always think of him as. He's been in like a bunch of shit.
I think of him from Balls of Fury.
Yeah,
That
Balls of
terrible
Fury.
comedy about ping pong, where he's
Yep.
he's the funniest guy in there by a country mile. When
He's funny
when
in
he
this.
goes, yeah, he's hilarious. He's good in everything.
Yeah, he
But
is.
he's just like goes like he's wearing lady speed stick in Balls of Fury. Fucking hilarious. Just a
I
little
also
side
love
note.
because the actor who plays him, because obviously I like this movie and I've like learned about some of these characters. He's from Minnesota, but
Oh,
literally
really?
where he's born.
Yeah.
Born in like 1925 in Minnesota, but he always has the same accent, like the same But he's like, yeah, no, I'm just Minnesota.
Yeah, it's just
okay.
Hollywood. Just like,
Yeah, he
hey,
did
you.
USO shows during World War II. That's how he got his break. He would do performances in Al Jolson blackface during
Are
World
you
War
serious?
II. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll talk about offensive. All of that.
yeah.
That is some crazy ass like journalistic research. How the fuck did you find that out? How
I don't even
far
know.
back did you have to dig?
I have no fucking idea where I found that. I found that today while just trying to do some trivia stuff. Stumbled across it.
Wow.
Max is out there just digging up skeletons, man. Just out
Reading articles.
flying out to Minnesota. I'm going to know everything about your ass.
Going through microfiche.
Oh, Jesus.
Sourcing through shit. Yeah. So then the boys, they look up to see that they're then surrounded by the Lords of Death, who then never come back ever again in this movie, with Jack saying, okay, I'm going home. Keep your money, before running back into the same street fight and then into a random basement.
Because why not? They just go down these random tunnels. They're filled with trash. Sure.
I was
Okay.
so disoriented. I was so disoriented by the end of this scene. I'm
He
like, what the fuck happened?
He didn't even wave goodbye to the truck.
The truck
He
is
just
gone
left
when it comes back. Well, he runs
just
back
left
into the
it.
same street. The truck's just not even there anymore. It just disappears.
Oh, no. Yeah, you just abandoned it. It's horrible.
And also just the logical thought process of Jack Byrne. This is like where this is where we're introduced to his super sweet tank top, is when he takes his coat off while crawling through this fucking
Yes.
trash covered crawl space. That's where he decides to take his fucking coat off in the
Yeah.
middle of it.
I know, it's crazy. Dude, he is
so
dressed like an
dumb.
anime character.
It's absurd.
He is dressed like an anime character. That's exactly what like
Well,
fucking
he's got knee-high boots. They aren't cowboy boots.
No.
I hate to break
Those
it
are
to everybody.
Moskins.
they're a cross between like tie-on moccasins and like snake boots. Like the snake
It's-
boots people wear in the West.
It's straight out of like Rihanna's wardrobe. Like it's just
Yeah.
strange.
It's straight
But
out
very
of
fashionable.
it's straight out of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's wardrobe, because he actually bought that in Aspen and he asked if he could wear them, and they're like, sure.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So many buckles.
Why
is
not?
So many buckles.
God, yeah, that's the thing. There's like 10 of them on there.
Oh my
They're
God.
tucked into like acid wash jeans, and then he's got that fucking tank top on. I was like, what? This outfit is out of control. Who would fight anybody in this?
Also, Kurt Russell, he's in good shape, but he's not in great shape in this movie, and he's walking around like he is the most jacked person in the world, which also is hilarious. Like, he's walking around like that fucking meathead at the gym with like the jug of water.
And I'll,
whole
and I'll just
movie.
say that it's true. He's like, he's like not out of shape. He looks fine, but obviously because I have the DVD and they have like the movie poster cover. Movie poster cover, he's like jacked. Like he is like that, someone who's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger jacked, but like someone for his size, it's like, oh, he's in great shape. It's like, absolutely not. This movie, he's like, yeah, I'm all right,
That almost feels like that could be a wonderfully frivolous lawsuit, just to like sue the production company to be like, I was told that Kurt was going to be fucking massive in this movie, and then this is what I get, like false advertising, like in Wins. It's like the hot coffee, McDonald's like, oh shit, that was worth like $25 million.
So back at Wang's restaurant, Jack is wearing a kimono and screaming at his trucker insurance rep over the phone when
God.
Kim Cattrall struts in saying, "Don't panic, it's only me, Gracie Law."
Oh my God.
Oh, such a Samantha thing to do, to just burst in. I'm just going to be referring to her as her Sex in the City name for the entire movie. We're just going to throw that out there.
Just flat out. I mean, I knew this before I watched this movie, this fact, but she's a terrible actress. Like
her acting is so bad and so corny, but it actually works for this movie.
Yeah, it works for this movie. It's like Nick Cage in Leaving Arizona. I mean, it's like, yeah, it works, but it doesn't work at anything else.
Yeah. Again,
It's so stiff.
It's just so funny too, because like, no offense to the people who wrote this movie and everything like that, but like, her name is Gracie Law and she's a lawyer.
I know.
I was like, God, you gotta give me something here. And every line she delivers is just so, like, not incredible. It's like uncredible. Like, I don't believe you. She's like, it's just me trying to, defend people's rights. And I was like, where did you come? What community theater did you come from?
All right, Lisa Simpson, enough.
Yeah. I couldn't, later when you meet her friend who's a journalist, I'm like, wait, wasn't she a fucking journalist? Wasn't Gracie Law a fucking journalist? I'm so fucking confused right now. This random bitch just showed up in the middle of this fucking movie, and this is like, no, just okay. I'm supposed to accept it. Fine.
And everyone in Chinatown knows her too. They're like, stay away from her, Jack. She's trouble. She's like, why?
She's
they
fighting.
never explain it.
She's apparently fighting for everyone's rights, yet everyone in the neighborhood hates her.
She's a classic do-gooder where she's just like a real Budinsky. It's like, oh, do you know you're not supposed to do that? Like, it's like, all right, thank you, Gracie. Please get back to your office now.
So fast forward a little bit to this brothel. So Jack arrives at the brothel that Mao Yen is being held captive, wearing a master of disguise of glasses and a yellow shirt. Boy, it sure is raining cats and dogs. Henry Swanson's the name, and excitement's my game.
The moment he walked in, any of these women that are writing this, like, oh, he's like a police officer. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this isn't a real person. It's just like at the very least, they're like, something's gone wrong here. But I will say, I love it because it's just like it's Kurt Russell dressed up like an idiot. It's like, what if Kurt Russell was just in a yellow shirt and with a brown coat and like a brown tie? Like, what if he was just mustard?
Yeah, mustard in a Minnesota accent.
Yeah.
It's almost like the director was punishing him, like he lost a bet or something. And he was like, well, we could put you in the normal undercover outfit, or we're gambling right now. I'll tell you what, if I win, I'll won't make you wear this fucking thing over here, whatever it is. I was like, Jesus. And that's how he did. He lost a fucking bet.
And then just out of nowhere, too, just the Storms, a.k.a. the 3 Mortal Kombat characters, they just crash through the ceiling and just kidnap the girl. Yeah. And also another great Jack Byrne moment where he's punching the rain dude in the face. He punches him twice, and then he doesn't even react, the guy. So then he just kind of gives him like a head nod, like a, yep, and just gets kicked in the chest and goes like 15 feet flying.
Again, right? Like, you don't need to pay attention to any of this, right? It's just like, oh, you're in a brothel now, and like, oh, this is like a secret. Somehow these, the Mortal Kombat characters know where everybody is. And they literally just blast a hole in the ceiling and cause an earthquake. And everybody is just fleeing from this place. Apparently this brothel is packed on like a Tuesday. Yeah. Why not?
In a rainstorm.
And it's just, in a rainstorm, it's just amazing. And then it's just getting his shit kicked in. It was like, oh, all right, I'll see you guys later.
You see Bobby Kraft walking through the brothel.
Your Honor, I was never there. All these eyewitnesses are liars.
I refuse to be in the movie Big Trouble in Little Singapore. It's China.
What do you call it again? It's like, nope, don't say anything more, Mr. Kraft. We're already in enough trouble. It's like, there used to be a different name. Peking, I believe. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. All right, let's all move on.
What's wrong with getting a jibber jab from a couple of Orientals? Big Trouble in Little Oriental Town.
I think there should be a rewrite in here somewhere. Hold on, let me get my pen out. It's like, oh no.
Hold on, my lawyers told me to not say that.
It's not racist when you're 75.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my God. Fucking hilarious.
Might have to cut some of that out. Anyway. So Jack and Wang track down Lopan's business front. Again, just absolutely no context of how they know this, but anyway.
Nope.
And they disguise themselves as phone repairmen to get inside. And when I say disguise, I mean Jack Byrne is still wearing his knee-high boots with the tank top and a jean jacket while holding an unplugged rotary phone.
It's just
And he
holding
just walks
a
into
phone.
he goes into the building saying, "God, I love working nights. Don't get up, phone company." And he just shows the phone like it's a badge.
Could you imagine though? And no one says anything. They just walk right through with such
Just let 'em
brio,
go.
with such confidence, just because they have a fucking phone.
Yeah, I think
You know
the
what I
breakers are that way. And they just like walk through the fucking building.
No one says anything. They're like, oh no, they seem reputable. I see a lot of electricians, you know, with some weird like Asian tank top shoved into jeans and just some random other guy.
Also, they think that they're nailing this disguise, and they're not because they get caught immediately.
Yes.
Like they turn a corner and they just get caught. And that leads to them meeting with Lopan in his old form, explaining that he needs to sacrifice Wang's fiance in order to break the curse that keeps him trapped inside an old man's body.
So wait, so that's not his body. I thought that was him, and he was just
There's two of them.
2000. Okay, we are not going to try to go down the path of you trying to explain the Holy Trinity to me. That's not what this movie is about, is it?
I think pretty much that he can't his powers in physical form. He can't do anything because he got a curse from like some old emperor back in the day. So he has to like as his human self has to like live in this old man body, and then I don't know what the fuck he's doing outside
Okay.
of that as the other guy. He plays like 4 different people in this too.
Okay, no, actually, I actually appreciate that. It gives me a little bit more clarity.
Yeah.
The movie, I've watched it twice. You'd never know.
But doesn't he like? Why wouldn't he just always be the powerful guy who can like shoot lasers out of his mouth and his eyes?
Because
Yeah.
he needs to get married to somebody and then sacrifice a green-eyed girl
I'm
to the
just gonna
emperor.
stop asking questions.
Yeah, they don't really explain much.
Funny enough, here's my theory. I think that Jack, Kurt Russell, in this movie is actually the audience because the entire time, like, he'll ask questions and shit. I mean, about everything that's happening, you know, like where he's like, for 2,000 years, I've been looking when Lopang's like talking about everything. He's like, for 2,000 years, I've been looking for this, you know, green-eyed lady. And he's like, well, for 2,000 years, you ain't been trying hard enough or blah, blah, blah. Like calls him out on it. Like,
Yeah.
Which is
why?
very true.
How'd you fuck
mean-
that up, buddy?
Think about how many fucking billion people are in China.
Yeah. People got green eyes. They pop up from time to time. It's real.
Yeah.
Which he said too. It's like they've come in passing.
Well, and that's what,
That's what he says.
that's what I think is so funny because then it's like, you know, Kim Cattrall, like, oh, she's got green eyes. Like, I guess she's good enough.
Yeah, good enough.
You know what I mean?
Fuck it.
And that's why I was just like, well, I thought the whole point was you've been waiting for centuries. You know, they're like, oh, he's been traveling this since you fought Shi Huangdi, the first emperor of China, over 2,000 fucking years ago. You know what I was going to say? And he's been waiting 2,000 years, and only now he's going to like break his steadfast commitment to getting a green-eyed Chinese woman instead of just like, well, that or the blonde. Yeah, I'll take her. Yeah, bring her here. Yeah, just get her in here. It's like, give me a fucking break.
We were really in planning phases for 2,000 years. we just turned into implementation phase. This is a chalkboard in his office. It just has green and eyes with an arrow going back and forth between them.
It's underlined 2,000 times.
Yeah.
I can do it. Think, Lopan, think.
Also, this is around the time too where Jack Burton's getting tortured by one of the guys who's just like magically throwing a rubber red ball into his stomach over and over again.
He's like he's trying to hide it from like domestic abuse court or something. It's really
Makes no
weird.
sense.
It's only like hitting him in the torso.
Yeah.
The rubber ball.
I love how sassy Lopan is. He's just like, ha ha
Oh
ha,
my gosh.
ha ha ha, you idiot, and then just like wheels away, like swiftly wheels away.
He literally says the phrase, which I'd never noticed before, this really pisses me off.
Yeah.
And I was like, aren't you 2,000 years old? Like, wouldn't you just like talk like you would from then? You know what I mean? That he's like, you know, these motherfuckers, they're really screwing me over here, screwing right in my ass. All right, I'll see you guys later. And he's like, no, I'm Lopan.
Lopang's like
you know,
as if
shoot
Yoda
lasers from
fucked
my
the penguin.
Yeah, he
Like,
says when he's looking
really.
at the camera, he's like, oh, this really just pisses me off.
It just was so funny. I was like, what?
Also, yeah, there's also a thing later on with Lopan when he's still the old person. He sees Kim Cattrall and he like tries to like look down her shirt and he's just going like, Gucci, 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 Gucci. And she's like, get the fuck away from me.
God.
All right, and then we get the scene where Jack jumps on the buff Mortal Kombat guy, but doesn't know how to escape, so he's then tossed into a wheelchair and flies down this long hallway, nearly falling into Buffalo Bill's well.
I saw that and I thought to myself, like, that doesn't make sense from a physics standpoint. But then I was like, why the fuck would I ever bring that up in this movie? That would be the most ridiculous thing ever.
No, this hallway has a 45-degree angle to it.
Yeah.
He also hits the bottom going apparently 40 miles an hour and comes down flat. And I was like, oh, he didn't fall out and break his neck. You know what I was saying?
Yeah.
He's not tied into the chair. He could just jump out at any point. He just stays in there screaming the whole time.
That being said, though, I love it. I love the whole, because it's a fairly long shot. Literally, I don't know how they actually filmed this, but you just literally, it's only just Kurt Russell just going, he's getting sent down this hallway in this stupid chair.
And then he oversells it by taking way too long to get out of the chair, and then he just pushes all of his weight into the chair so it falls down the well to make it look like he almost fell into the well. He does that on purpose too.
Yeah. It wasn't like it immediately fell into. He pushes himself and then it goes a couple, like a foot, and then just falls in. And it was like, all right, this is a little overly dramatic, I would suggest.
But another just great line of just, Jack just being an idiot or not thinking ahead of time is just, he jumps on that guy saying give me one and then he just gets thrown against the wall. And then he jumps back on the guy again. He goes, okay, let's do this again. And then they all escape. And then Wang goes Jack, let's go. And he goes, how? He's stuck on the guy's back. He doesn't know what the fuck to do. It's all of his planning, he does not think 2 steps ahead. He's just always just in the moment.
And that's the best part about it. He has no training in any kind of martial arts or anything. At least Wang, who by the way goes from just some guy who likes to drink beers and gamble into the greatest martial artist of all time, literally flying through the fucking air at the end of this movie. His growth is tremendous. Dude. Meanwhile, Jack Burton barely learns how to fire a gun by the end of this. That's his level of growth.
Jack is a trucker. Full stop. Full stop.
Oh yeah.
That's what he is.
He delivered his load.
Yep.
He delivered his load. And when that happens, that when you drop a load, you have that moment of clarity. Same thing when you're dropping off a load of cargo. Moment of clarity. It happens. Same thing. I don't know why those wires cross, but they do. Try it out.
That's why he won so much money gambling.
But he's a trucker. I mean, well, not even that, but he's just old-fashioned guy. Jump first, ask questions later.
Yep.
Which happens consistently throughout.
Ask a lot of questions later.
He actually does have a solid, all the shit that we give him in this movie, he does have a solid body count racked up. He has 12 people he's shot by the end of the movie?
Yeah.
At least?
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. Well,
he goes from 0 to 12 in an hour. Yep.
Basically.
So also thus far, Wang has also just pretty much been a dumbass, but now we get to see that he's also a badass when he goes, let's go, it's clear. And then he just goes around the corner and immediately bumps into several bad guys who are just there waiting for him. So he just starts beating them all up while Jack tries to figure out how to shoot a gun with the safety on.
Yes.
And then throws his knife.
That's later.
Oh, that's later.
Yeah.
Man.
I'll let you guys talk first, and then I want to get into just the whole gun thing.
The gun thing, I mean,
okay,
you can. It's actually similar. So here's preface it. Well, not preface it, but oh fuck, I just forgot his name. Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris did the same thing in some random movie where he just couldn't shoot guns straight. Didn't know how to use guns. Why did these two powerhouse, big dick swagger actors ever let their brand be tarnished by I don't know how to use a gun?
It's because Kurt Russell's a fucking pro. I got a trivia fact later. Actually, I'll just say it now. That when he's wearing lipstick later, that was all improvised because they realized how easy it was to take that lipstick off. So they're like, how about Jack just has lipstick on? He looks like a fucking idiot. That is why Kurt Russell is awesome, because he's not afraid of looking fucking bad and looking like an idiot if it's gonna be better for the movie. But the thing I love about him shooting this gun is that fucking chipmunk looking look that he has on his face, where he sticks out like his two front teeth and he's like flinching and like blinking the whole time that he's firing the gun. He's just like, he's just fucking blindly spraying bullets.
Yeah.
And also, he fires like the first 5 or 6 bullets in the ground because you can tell that as he's turning his safety off, he did not take his finger off the trigger. So he just starts like fucking firing into the ground and then puts his hand up and starts spraying everybody.
Even as he's like, again, and I love it, like, they're doing like the glamour shot or like the close up with the gun. It's just him like poking. He's just like, I'm just like, who fires a gun like this?
He shoots a gun like you're watering a lawn. That's how he shoots his gun.
It's like you're making like a mixed drink or whatever, and you like hit the bottle at the end to like stop it. So you're like, oh, okay, 3 count. All right, I'm out of here. He's doing the same thing with his gun. He's just like pointing it randomly, just shooting
It's
wherever.
like a leaf blower. I know.
Yeah. And I like it that the random friend, the other guy that's there with him, who's like the maitre d'.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, never like iced somebody before or something like that. It's like, you're a fucking maitre d'. Like, what?
I know.
What are you talking about? You work at the Dragon by the Black Pool restaurant. It's like, what do you know about him? It's like everybody here is like a secret. They're all like, yeah, it's a front, but actually, I really just fight evil. That's my primary thing.
Yep.
Like, oh,
And we're
okay.
all really rich. We just look
Yeah,
poor.
exactly. Everyone's fabulously wealthy. Egg Shen owns like the entire block. At the end, I was like, "What?"
Rich man's like, this place is a shithole.
These things are
Well,
priceless.
Westernized. Yeah, priceless. Artifacts of the East.
Priceless to who?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As like rats are like crawling around the tables.
Yeah.
Just like, all right.
Priceless to who?
God.
I don't know. Don't ask questions.
All right, let's just get out of here.
But
It's like, okay.
just the fact that people didn't realize that this movie was a comedy, even after you see Kurt Russell making that face shooting a gun, while you've seen Kurt Russell in other movies shooting a gun, not making that face. It's like, you should have just been fully on board by then.
Oh, dude, like, I know now it's a comedy, but I gotta be honest, like, it's confusing.
It doesn't
What
sink
is
in.
happening?
It's confusing, man.
It doesn't always sink in. You're like, is it serious? Is it not? Like, especially with the undertones of like forced marriage that they throw on you real fast. Like, it's tough.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about the fucking sexual assault that
Oh, my God.
Jack Burton perpetrates throughout this movie on Kim Cattrall.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She's playing hard to get, all right?
Yeah.
She wants it. That is exactly the mindset that Jack has.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's how I felt when we first touched bellies. Too.
Well,
On the cover of this show, the artwork. Funny enough.
Yep. Real picture.
listen, John.
Sometimes you just have to introduce yourself.
When our eyes met and our bellies touched, we knew what was going on there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And Bill did too, because Bill is literally biting his finger in the background watching in that picture.
Creamed beans across the board.
He doesn't talk about it much, but he told me that made him a little bit confused when he saw
Sure
it.
it did.
So
So then after this, Wang and his buddy Eddie, that's his name, Eddie,
Eddie.
they fight off
Eddie.
several rounds of ninjas while Jack rescues a bunch of girls, including Gracie and her friend Margot, the reporter. Then they escape through an underwater sewer pipe. Of course, Jack, he bumps into Gracie and falls into the water. That's how he gets in.
I think that's the only thing that Jack actually successfully accomplishes throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Is that the only mission
That and
accomplished?
the
It's like, go
Lopan
get the
ending.
girls. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, boss.
Yeah,
That's
he
it.
does
Oh,
that,
yeah, that's
but
true.
Does anyone else think it's odd that everyone else is just in like their jail cells, cages, whatever, except for Gracie, who is bound for some
Bound and
inexplicable
gagged.
reason, just like this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is just the reporter has a fucking pen and paper. She's like writing a story. Meanwhile, your friend who literally got captured with you is like bound and gagged. It's like, why did
Why did my
disparate
guard have to be
treatment?
BTK? The fucking BTK killer.
I forgot about the hog tie. Yeah.
Yep.
I feel
Yeah.
like my brain threw that one out for their
Yeah, I was
second
just
because
like,
there was a
what
hog
the
tie. Once again, when Tim was talking about where it's like, you just get confused. Like, comedy, not comedy. I haven't seen a lot of people hog tied getting ready to be
Whatever.
Oh, dude.
whatever.
And then when they're
Fill
escaping
in
through the sewer
blanks.
pipe, she's like freaking out. Where's Jack? Where's Jack? And then he pops up and just lays like a fucking totally unwanted smooch on her.
She like slaps him.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she immediately goes like,
Get out of here.
dude, that one, no, come on.
It's like, oh, come on. It's hard to concentrate when you're rubbing your body against me like that.
Oh
It's like
my
you guys are
God,
swimming
yeah,
through
when
a
he said that,
fucking
it's
vent.
crazy.
It's terrible. She's like literally like an inch or two away from her face, and she's like, "Can we get the fuck out of here? Are we trying to escape these like evil demons?" It's like, no, we got time. Don't worry about it. Hold on.
All right, then you get another hilarious moment when the good guys run towards the door, and then Jack is just mansplaining, saying, all right, we're all out of here. From here on, it gets pretty normal. Offices, storerooms, nice false front. I count to 3, and we all move out. 1, 2, and then opens the door, gong sound effect. There's like 100 bad guys behind the door. We might be trapped.
I love that he tells everyone to run. Oh, they only saw me.
They only
You guys
saw me.
go hide. What?
No, they didn't.
They'll be like,
Yeah.
what?
They opened the whole fucking door.
Hide
they
where?
saw us all there. There's like 20 of us.
They also knew you were talking to somebody.
You prefaced before opening the door, we were waiting for you, and we heard you say like 5 different things.
God, again, still funny though.
Yep. And they all rush in, and Wang literally beats up every single bad guy in the amount of time it takes for Jack to pull the knife out of his boot.
Yes.
And this is where he loses his knife the first time.
Yeah. Insane. He's like juggling a gun and a knife and throws them both behind like a bookshelf. And then Wang does his Wang Chung moves on the bad guys.
It's unbelievable because I think then John Carpenter really wants everyone to know, like, look how bad Jack is, because they like look at every body like boop, 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 and he's just like, Wang's like, okay, we're all set, right? Let's get out of here. It's like, okay.
Doesn't go.
Yeah.
Also, where did he find his bullets? When he ran out of bullets in like another scene, he didn't just like find another clip for a Tech 9 laying around. I don't think many of those are just around always.
I think they take a gun from one of the guys because they have like one of the guys hold like one of the good guys has a machine gun. He's like, no, I'll take that. It's like, no, Jack, you don't need that. And the guy's like, all right. And he just like gives him the gun and doesn't have one. He's just like, let's Jack have it.
Sure.
Which he then just promptly does not use correctly, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, exactly. Let's give the gun to the least experienced guy here, who's somehow inexplicably like kind of our leader. Like, all right.
And then just before they can all escape, Gracie's kidnapped by this super weird ass monster thing. I have no idea what the fuck this thing's supposed to be.
Just random Yeti.
You
Yeah,
can
it's a Yeti.
really describe the movie, actually, the plot, if you think about it, just like a trip. Like, I mean, like, you know, mushrooms or whatnot, where it's just like, we're peaking right now, okay? The monsters have showed up, folks, to the movie. There are all of a sudden, we knew magic was like kind of a thing with the crazy, creepy, rapey old 2,000-year-old man, you know, like, but monsters. That's where we are.
What is her deal? Like, honestly, no, what is her deal? Like, they just escaped some like magical dungeon with some 2,000-year-old sorcerer, and some secret door opens up, and she thinks, I should investigate this. It's like, lady, nothing good's coming for you.
No.
In that building. Just get the fuck out.
I like that she like takes a deep breath and yells, and then she's like darting her eyes left and right, just like waiting for the actor to like pick her up to leave during that scene. She's like, are you gonna fucking grab me anytime soon? I'm running out of breath here.
And action.
It's just a very Samantha thing to do. Just always getting in trouble.
Such a Samantha move. She probably fucked that guy too. Little fucking slut.
Definitely.
Hey, she was a promiscuous
Whoa.
one, all right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. How many
If I remember Sex and
times
the
were
City
you
well,
forced
yes,
to watch
that was
the
her whole
show?
thing.
Honestly, if she's gonna play that fucking role, those are the fucking, you know, that's what she gets.
So then our friend Egg, along with Jack, Wang, and the Chang Sing gang, try saying that 3 times fast. I can't even say it fast one time. They head to Lopan's lair through these underground tunnels. But on their way there, a cave-dwelling catfish spider monster jumps out of the walls and eats one of the good guys.
You know, I'm sorry. You know what I just realized? So, like, this would be a great story to just tell your kids. Like, if you just told the story, you could just tell it to kids. It'd be the best fucking story ever. Because
That is a good idea. Yeah, story. If you want to tell a story to like one of your kids growing up, like, I'll just read the synopsis of Big Trouble in Little China. They'll never know.
Yeah. You just read the Wikipedia page.
Fuck
and-
it.
Seriously,
That'll
we
get 'em.
need to sell that idea. Any parents listening, if you're listeners, guess what? You just hit the jackpot. Like, you can just like tell installments of this, just whitewash it to make it, as like rated G as possible, and just put it out there.
I don't know, man. Be
You're welcome.
careful. Be careful. Your kids will go into school and start telling like their teacher that this is like what my dad or something told me, and you'll look at social services at your door quickly.
That's like this is also a brief deviation, but also a true story that I watched The Producers with my father when I was like young, like 8 to 10, 12.
Are you sick?
Like, yeah, absolutely. And so we watched. My dad's like, "No, it's a great movie." So we watch it, and my dad literally had to look me in the eye and say, "You can't mention that we watched this movie." And don't go around like singing "Springtime" for Hitler in Germany. Like, for the love of God, like don't like we're gonna watch it. He's like, but you cannot tell anybody. About
Don't
dude.
tell
And
your
that's-
mother.
Exactly. It's like he's like, this is between us. Like the time he was at Broken Arrow, he was like, you can't watch it. It's a rated R movie, but you're like 10. He's like, but I want to watch it, so we're gonna do it. And he's like, but just be cool about it.
Dude,
Like,
that's
okay.
a movie that gets you into real trouble because you just start singing. You have no context for any of those songs,
No,
for any of
that's what I
that
mean. It's
shit,
just-
and you just start singing it. You get into real
Exactly.
trouble.
It's so catchy, and I just remember like because I would be like kind of like humming it. My dad would be like, for the love of God,
What did I say?
shh,
I don't know if
cool
I-
it, Mike.
I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before. I might have, but when my dad gave me the sex talk was because like they always had the Trojan Man commercials on like WBCN and on
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
And I was a fucking little kid. I had no fucking idea what it was, but it was a catchy little jingle. And so I just like got up on a bench in the Hanover Mall as a little kid and just just being an ADHD little kid just went Trojan Man like at the top of my lungs in the middle of the Hanover Mall. And that's my dad had the sex talk. He's like, "Hey, Tim, we got to talk here.
Hey, buddy.
Let me take you off this bench and plop you down here.
we
buddy.
gotta talk here. Okay, buddy."
Kid, you're 8 years old and you're already halfway to fucking sex crime jail. Okay, come on.
He's like, "Listen, Tim, you got red hair. You're not allowed to have sex. Okay."
You need to mate with another redhead.
Yeah.
Now, I know I'm going to scar you with one story, but now I'm going to make sure that both these stories are scarred into your memory for the rest of your life. You weren't going to think about this Hanover Mall story, but now I'm going to make sure you always remember it.
Exactly.
It's the only memory of the Hanover Mall since basically it's all
Yeah.
gone.
Exactly.
What a hellhole. All right.
Going back into the movie too here. So this is also just another fucking great part too is when Egg, he throws some like magic beans at that like monster and he goes, "You will come out no more." And then Jack goes, "What? Huh? What will come out no more?"
Again, this is when I first started making note of his, like, I'm just a huge fan of his reaction to literally every monster. Like, I understand it's been like a rough, like, 24 to, like, 24-ish hours for him, 48 maybe or whatever. But it's just like, listen, man, like, you've been seeing, there's a guy who's walking through walls. There's a man, there's all this stuff. And he is just constantly befuddled by monsters. He's just like, oh my God, what? Who's a what's it? It's like,
I think the next
pick up
thing
the pace.
I think the next thing after that, Egg Shen's like, "Let's go," and then Jack just goes, "Damn it!" None of his questions get answered either. That's another thing that's great is that they keep on like trying to explain him things, and he's like, "What does that mean?" And then they're like, "Don't worry about it." And they just like keep on doing something else.
We got to keep going. As the audience is also echoing, like, I would also like to stop. And
Nope.
Can you, what?
Nope.
Why?
Next set piece.
Yeah, exactly. Nope.
It's like, oh, never mind. I already forgot. Yes.
God, so fucking funny.
I mean, this whole movie's been out of 10, but this is around the time that, like, after the spider fish monster just pops out, like, it just goes to an 11 for the rest of the movie. So this goes right into this, the scene where Egg is just dishing out these shots of, like, magical liquid cocaine.
Wait, are these the little crack rocks that he's throwing? Those things?
So it's when he takes out that potion and he has everyone take a shot of it before they
Oh my
go into
God.
the elevator. And Egg describes it as huge buzz. That's all that he says when he takes the shot.
Oh my God, no, yeah. I
Well,
forgot that he actually stopped the whole party for everybody to take
Well,
Cabo
'cause then-
Wabo shots. Yeah,
with his crazy
and he had to
They
do
did.
it behind a
with
bar.
his crazy dead eye. Like, Egg, you might want to hold off on these shots here, buddy. I think it's fucking your vision.
It's a
I think
drunken
it's already
master.
ruined you. It's so great too because he's like, because I Jack at one point he's like, what is this? What do you give me? He's like, oh, earth, wind, all that stuff. He says something
Yeah.
like that. It's like, don't worry about it. Like, just take it. And it's just like, this is no, because earth, wind, and then stuff. And he's like, wink, wink. It's like, it's like, oh, I got it. That's why in an instant. Okay.
Okay. All you have to do is put your finger to your nostril. That's all I needed. All right. Yeah, I'll take
International
some.
language.
Yeah, I'll take some.
International. My God.
Yeah, so there's also a few things that I kind of just breezed over that I want to mention too. So first off is that one guy that's just eating raw fish like a candy bar
Oh, dude.
that then offers it to Jack.
Yeah.
That happens real fast. Yeah, it's just like head bitten off of fish. Do you want
They
some?
go flying down
Nah.
a sewage pipe. I don't really understand why there's a sewage pipe that leads into this fish room. And Jack's like, "Where are we?" And they're like, "This is food storage in case for something or other." I'm like, "It's just piles of fucking fish." Like, what?
And rats
Yeah,
everywhere.
Rats.
Like, why are some fish hanging, but there's also piles of fish too? Like, someone took a lot of time to hang a lot of those fish and then gave up.
Right.
Fuck it. We're filming now. All right, whatever.
There's also just great parts
cares?
as they're traveling through like whatever, like the Dead Forest. I can't remember what they call it now, but like they're traveling through and somewhere Egg Shen is trying to like give him historical context. When I was like, one, there's clearly like an arch, like someone made this over this river of like, they're like, oh, you mean it's oil? He's like, no, it's like black, whatever. I now I'm blanking on it, but it's like,
Yeah, like
Okay.
Black Earth or something.
yeah, it's like
It's
black,
the black blood of the earth.
Yeah,
the
something
earth. I'm like,
that.
okay, so these were made by humans. He's like, like 1,000 years ago. I'm like, 1,000 years ago is like not that long ago. It's like one of these
Yeah,
things. It's
you're
just like-
right. Yeah.
and people are like building these structures down here. I'm like, this is like, who's making this shit? Like Native Americans? I don't buy this. We're in San Francisco, right? And it was like, who is making this in the year like 1000? You know what I mean? It's like I
Mexicans.
don't believe you. I don't believe this.
He's just had too much of that Colombian market about it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
he
why
can't even
man,
keep his eyes open. He's so fucked up.
yeah, exactly. That one evil eye. These guys.
Once again, everyone, we are peaking. We are okay. All right, group, we are peaking again. Once again, we are at the top of the trip. Like balls have been dropped. We are tripping the balls. We're tripping over them, and now it doesn't stop.
Yeah, I glazed over that whole like eyeball, like literal balls of eyes.
No, I did cut it out. Cut it out. It's not even worth. It's a fucking. It's a
so
sex
fucking
toy
weird.
/ like video game.
It's
Pokemon.
creepy.
Oh my God! It's a Pokemon fuck doll. It's what it is. It's disgusting.
I have to be honest. The minute that thing came to the movie, I'm just enough. Let's wrap this thing up.
That's the thing that really took Tim out of the movie. He's like, so he's
Yeah,
got a
I
tongue,
just-
but it's also an eye too. Like, why?
Again, even
Yeah.
Jack is like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
And he just
I
shoots
totally
it.
understood Jack's sentiments.
He's like, fuck
I was
this. He's
like-
like, I don't know.
Right.
I just Tim. Yeah. Ooh, high five, buddy.
Yeah. I'm with you, John.
Sorry, we're almost done here. But another thing too, I wanted to mention just about Egg Shen, about how like funny this dude was. Just rewatching this movie is like all of his choices are perfect for this movie. They're all perfectly weird. And then like there's the scene right afterwards when he goes to Jack. He says, "We are close, real close. And now for some more bad news. Ready?" It's just so fucking weird.
God, it is. He's just like perfectly crazy. He's like crazy enough that this is like, it's like, hey, my life's been building up to this moment. I'm like, really? Like, has it? Like, why is that? Like, why do you have a particular? And they like seem to know each other. Like, Lopan's like, oh, Egg Shen, I see you again. And they
Yeah.
never like why they know each other.
Nope.
I don't know.
Never
That
established. Never
second-rate
established.
sorcerer, Egg Shen.
Exactly.
Did he call him like a peasant magician
he
at
called
some
him
Yeah,
peasant
point?
peasant
Yeah.
magician. That's what he calls him.
Yes, like, you
It's even
fucking
better.
plebe. Like at some point.
There must have been like some backstory where like he is also 2,000 years old and like, you know what I mean? But instead he's just like this 7-year-old man who like lives in Chinatown.
Who drives a tour
And it's
bus.
just like, yeah, I dabble.
I mean, shit, dude. Someone's got to look after the goddamn gremlins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so we have all the guys in the elevator cheesing, just clearly high as shit, with Jack saying, I'm not scared at all. I'm kind of feeling invincible. Me too. I have a very positive attitude about this.
A conversation a conversation that everyone who's ever done cocaine has had. I feel great.
I feel good
I don't
right
think
now.
anything could stop me right now.
It's getting hot in here, or is it just me?
Yeah. You think I could jump that car?
You want to do a shoulder roll down this stoop?
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I know you weren't. You weren't taking
Cannot
coke
ca-
for that.
I cannot confirm or deny that there were substances involved in that decision.
Oh yeah. By the way, well, yeah. I guess Egg Shen. He tells everyone that Lopan needs to complete this wedding ceremony in order to become mortal. So Lopan begins becoming mortal, which means it's time for the good guys to attack. So they all let out a battle cry and charge at Lopan's goons, all except for Jack Burton, who knocked himself out with a chunk of rubble after firing his gun in the air like an idiot.
It just plays so well. His incompetence just plays so well. It's like
perfect.
the one thing in this movie that really hits home.
He's unconscious the entire fight from his own doing. He's a fucking idiot. I love it.
Yep.
I mean, he does get the big giant guy trapped on top of him later that he like nearly accidentally kind of kills, which
Yes.
is like, I guess he was like a big character, like a big boss, like in that room right there. You know, if you're playing a video game and you're fighting like a big dude, yeah, he was a problem. And he took him out, but he sucks.
I still cannot believe that this was made by the same guy who made Halloween and The Thing in the same
It's just-
decade, and then he did this, which
It sounds like he came out of a bad trip, and this is what he needed to like, you know, cleanse the palate, so to speak,
So I don't
as a
wanna go-
director, writer.
Yeah, I could see that, John. I could see that this was like, I just got to do something different. And he's
Yeah,
like,
like-
I'm going to do something way different.
I'm just going to take all the shit in my head, throw it out.
well, this was the last movie that he ever did with a major studio. He just quit doing them after this because it bombed.
That's kind of important, I think, to lead off with in this episode. Like the director never again after this movie, this strange movie.
Yep. He only did independent
Ever.
movies after that. Wow. Also, one more thing too, during the ceremony of Lopan, when he just goes, "Come on, my love, give it to me." He's like stepping her.
Oh God. Everything about this is so fucking odd. And especially because it's in like, again, you can if I didn't tell you anything about this movie and the only thing I showed you was this scene of their fight, I've said, what decade was this film made in? And 98% of it was gonna be like the 1980s. Because who else would have like some weird like Spinal Tap, neon skull is
Yes.
like the entranceway to. It's like, what? Why?
It looks like a food court in a mall. That
Yes.
whole ceremony area.
The
It
same,
has an
like,
escalator.
green and pink light, and it's like, oh, this is like a stereotypical 80s movie. It's like, that's what you've dropped me into. I expect like the Brat Pack to walk around the corner, start talking about their feelings in high school and shit. Meanwhile, Egg Shen is throwing like bombs at people. You know what I mean?
Marble bombs, and then you got Wang just doing like a million cartwheels, running up walls, doing 360s, and then having just like a full-blown sword fight in the air, just flying at this point. And then we got like the Spaceballs like ring finger fight between Lopan and Egg Shen.
Amazing.
It is
So weird.
batshit crazy. It is like the ceremony before they even get there is batshit crazy. Like there's just guys like the fucking three, crazy
The
hat
three
dudes.
amigos.
The
That's
three
what they are.
amigos.
The fucking three amigos.
Yeah.
Running around.
They're just doing like an interpretive dance in front of these two like entranced
Oh, yeah.
women.
I fast forwarded through that part.
Yeah.
What? Wait,
On this viewing,
fuck
I'm like-
you. No, you don't get to fast forward through that. You had to
You
watch
do when
that
you
like the
remember
rest
this
of us.
movie.
No, it was mesmerizing.
Oh, dude. But then like, like where we are now, like I don't even understand what's happening. Like he was supposed to,
Again,
isn't he supposed to marry her, but now he's drinking her blood? Like what the fuck is happening?
So he broke. I think it's just like he broke skin. So like that part of the ceremony is complete, which means that he's now becoming mortal. So like they can do it. So now it's time to go kill him.
Yeah, because then he has to like sacrifice them, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
Are we sure that this movie isn't like indoctrinating you two into QAnon or some shit? Like there isn't like a hidden message. Like,
God,
that's
hope
like
not.
that's a real slow burn then from QAnon from when I first watched this movie like 1999
to being a
to
liberal
now.
lawyer.
Yeah, just
Yeah, exactly. To be
it's been
me.
deep.
just wait
It's been
for it,
deep,
Mike.
man.
You're gonna be
They've been
showing
there.
up to Comet Pizza tomorrow.
Where are those kids at?
They're like
I'm here to
cicadas, man.
save
They
them.
come out every like 50 years. Don't worry.
But yeah, the great mystical sword battle, that's like the representative fight of them. I was like, what? It's
What-
like literally
what
there's
is
so much
this?
else going on and they're trying to make this so dramatic. I'm like, this is emphatically not dramatic, but it's amazing.
They do 2 spins in slow motion. That's the entire fight.
That's the whole
They
fight.
hit swords twice, and then that's it.
And then Lopan like talks shit to Egg Shen, but then I was like, didn't you literally just call him like a peasant wizard like 5 seconds ago, and you didn't beat him? Like,
No.
you know, aren't you supposed to be like the greatest warrior of like ancient China? No, all right, never mind.
How did they kill Lopan? Didn't they like throw a little jizz bomb at him?
Oh no, we're getting into it.
Okay.
It was real low key. His
Oh
death,
no, it
I
is
have to
not
say.
low key, guys. We're
Yeah,
getting into
it
it.
is.
Don't worry about it.
Super fucking low key.
All right, so first off, we got another quote here, which is just Jack the Gracie when she goes, "Where's your gun?" He goes, "I got a knife. It's okay. I can see things no one else can." Why you dressed like that?
Exactly. She's dressed up real weird. He's like, this is what are my heightened senses telling me about the scene? You dress weird.
Why you dressed like that?
Right, just like this.
Yeah. So then
Okay.
he makes out with her. So then he has this big hero monologue moment, not realizing that his whole his whole face is covered in lipstick, saying, "Well, you know what old Jack Burton says in a time like this? Who? Jack Burton. Me." And then shortly after that, he throws his knife at Lopan, missing by a good 5 feet, and then he just like tosses his head in the air like a quarterback who threw like a pick six to lose the big game. And then then Lopan like picks up the knife, throws it at Jack. Jack catches it, throws it right back at Lopan, and stabs him right in the fucking forehead, killing him.
Oh, dude.
I will
Oh
say
my
that it was
God,
jolting.
I can't believe I
But-
forgot about the fact that Jack just caught the knife.
Because
And then
it's low key.
And then he says,
He
"It's all in the
can't prove my
reflexes."
point. No, it's a low key death for like the greatest, evilest, darkest magic wizard of all time. Like, no. Like, you don't.
He just
Yeah.
catch throwback.
But
all
it
happens
is-
in
it
like
is
a span of
fucking
like
badass.
5 seconds, which is
yes.
it's just like, oh, okay, he's stabbed right in the face, I guess.
And, you know, to Jack's credit, Jack is talking the entire movie, even to like non existent invisible women, about how great his reflexes are. So they do set it up throughout the entire movie. He keeps
Very
mentioning it randomly throughout the movie that he's got great ass reflexes.
And it pays off. So this was the point of the movie when we saw it for your bachelor party, John. Like,
Yeah.
again, like this is why this movie is so great to watch with a crowd of people, because like at this point of the movie, like we're already drunk anyway, but then you're just like drunk on this movie of how fucking ridiculous it is that when Kurt Russell like misses by like 5 feet and he just covered in lipstick and just puts his head up in the sky like, fuck. Like we all just fucking erupted laughing.
That and also it literally hits a gong.
Yeah, it's a gong and makes a sound effect.
It's like Kwong, and I was like, "Oh, you racist, you dumb."
It's just it's a trip. The movie's a trip. That's the only way to describe it. Like, you know, it's
Kim Cattrall's just shaking her head in disappointment.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
all of it.
that's such
That's
a
what I mean.
fucking
Damn it. It's
Samantha
like some-
thing to do.
Yeah, it's like some Charlie Chaplin slapstick bullshit. It's like, I missed him again. It's like somehow he come up on top. I'm failing upwards.
Yes.
Oh, okay, sure.
And meanwhile, Wang has been fighting this Buff Thunder guy who then blows himself up, like literally like a balloon, and then he just bursts while Raiden gets crushed by a Buddha statue thrown by Egg.
Two quick things about this. One, their fight, because you don't see any of it. The best part is just when they throw all that fucking furniture, it's like a chest and chairs,
camera.
and it's just like him like backflipping away from this guy. He's just, and then at one point when he realizes that what is the big guy that blows up, he's like not catching him. He's just so mad he just breaks that like idol that's on the. He's like, oh, I'm just so mad. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
You can hear the song that everyone's thinking in their head when they see that scene where it's like where they're just like running back
the
and
Benny
forth.
Hill theme is just going back. And they're just like,
Everyone-
oh my God.
It's just things just
Now-
flying.
So why did like this particular Three Amigo just blow up when he saw that the guy died. But the lightning bolt guy did not explode.
I think the lightning guy, doesn't he explode? Isn't that what causes that big green explosion? Is him?
No, the last guy. No, he gets the Buddha statue hits him, and then
Yeah,
he
the Buddha
bursts into
statue
flame,
kills him.
Right?
So like the other guy had like long since like popped like a tick. He's already done popped and exploded all of his guts everywhere. Because like the big guy was dead. I don't know.
I don't know. Who cares?
I was just curious. I didn't know. You've been able to answer all of my other off the wall questions the entire time. I'm like, Max knows. It's like Max knows.
I don't know, and Preble doesn't know, Ben. I guess just nobody knows.
I also,
oh wow.
I also don't know why the guy that shoots lightning took 10 minutes to walk down a hallway, or how Jack Burton learned how to jump 12 feet in the air.
Yes.
And it was like, first of all, why wasn't Wang the last guy? He's doing backflips the whole
Motherfucker
time.
can fly.
I
Dude,
know.
yeah,
This doesn't make any sense.
True fact, PF Flyers designed those boots. Makes them run faster, jump higher.
Well, I also like that Egg Shen, he says, like, how'd you get up there? And Egg Shen goes, it wasn't easy. And then he just has this pulley system gun that he clearly just shot up in the air and then just flew up.
Yeah. Not easy, you know.
Very
I'd
easy.
Shoot it.
What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
All right, so the good guys jump onto the Pork Chop Express with Jack smashing through the walls because he accidentally put the truck in reverse.
Yeah, Jack can't even fucking drive. He is a truck
I think
driver.
Kim
Full stop.
Cattrall
That's
says
the only
that.
thing he is in this movie. He can't fight. He's a fucking moron the whole time. All he has is his ability to drive a truck, and he sucks at that.
And he doesn't have he doesn't know where his spare keys are, and he's like, no, my spare keys are up, and then he like kind of jiggles them. It's like, dude, there's people coming. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. Hey, I found them.
Right under the seat.
So to wrap up the movie, Egg tells Jack that he's going on a long-deserved vacation, and Jack's about to walk out the door when Margot asks if he's got to kiss Gracie goodbye, to which Jack says, nope, and he walks out saying bye to Wang, and then just leaves.
This is fucking outrageous. so, like, Gracie walks in like a little schoolgirl with her arms behind her back, like kind of like doing a little like curtsy twist, right? She's like, all you need to do is get like a sleeper cab in your truck, and I'll just be your little concubine back there, and that'll be our life. And Jack's like, I don't know. Walks away.
He says something like, I'll wear out everyone's welcome eventually, or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonder why.
And then Gracie goes, or aren't you even going to kiss her? Like, just stares at her. Nope.
Just so Han Solo-esque as he walks away. And I love the fact she's willing to give up her life as a lawyer for the guy who's the truck driver. I'm like, can't we do this in reverse? You know, aren't you now famous around here? Can't you, like, you know, live your life? He's like, nah, I'm peripatetic. I got to get to the road.
Yeah, can't Jack be a truck driver for Wang's restaurant?
Yeah. Can't you do something there? No.
Or how about this? Gracie just won't be attracted to this fucking, like, mentally challenged truck driver who can't do anything. Like, that doesn't need to be in the movie.
Fucking ham bone.
Like this, yeah, there's no reason for her to be attracted to a fucking idiot truck driver that drives around in a truck named Pork Chop.
Pork Chop Express. Excuse me, Tim.
The Pork Chop Express.
Sorry.
I don't know if she was trying to get away from like high rent or some of these super teeny tiny apartments that I myself have seen in San Francisco or something. But like when she asked Jack for like the 2-person apartment, like sleeper tractor trailer, and he was like, I'll think about it. It was like, she's just going for an upgrade.
Yeah. I mean, she lives in Chinatown. She's probably not making that much money. Anyway. So the movie closes out with Jack Burton once again rambling into a CB radio as the camera pans to the stowaway of the truck where the hairy, weird monster just pops out roaring, and then the movie just ends.
Just because.
Put my hands in the air for the audience at home. Tell you what, though, that fucking monster scared me the first time I saw it. Remember, just like
that monster's kind of gross.
It's very gross, and the only thing that moves it's its eyes.
Yeah.
Like a fucking bobblehead.
You know, because the mouth stays the same, the eyes just rotate. It was like, oh god,
It's a monster straight out of a sex cartoon. That's what it is.
It's something.
Yeah,
I'll believe that.
see, Mike's laughing. He knows. He's saying
I'm
it.
like, oh yeah,
I see you. He's like,
don't
oh,
we all
buddy.
know sex
Oh, wow.
monsters? Yeah.
I've seen 3 tentacles too many. You know what I mean?
I like my Japanese wood block printings just as much as the next man. Okay, some weird ass, gross, crazy shit.
All right, should I get into trivia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Time for trivia. All right, the first couple of them are from the commentary track with Kurt Russell and John Carpenter. So, Kurt Russell said that the early test screenings of this movie were amazing, and he had never before or since had so many reporters asking him what it felt like to be starring in the biggest movie of the year. And then the studio just barely marketed the movie, and nobody saw it.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a minute.
I do.
Sorry.
If the test audience was full of me and Prebbles, the fucking
I know,
it would have been a 10 out of would have been a fucking 50 out of 10. You're like, this is the best fucking thing I've ever seen.
If I had been alive in 1986 and of age to go watch, I probably would have gone to watch this movie every day of my life.
Every day.
I would like to see you two in that test audience in the background. Like the movie ends and just like the 2 guys in the background just like, woo!
Gotta clap it up, man.
It's like
You
going
gotta let
like
people know
way
you
too
appreciate
hard.
the movie.
Just getting those little little jars of confetti, just popping them up, just like running in circles around the theater. Just, woo, 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 woo. Fuck, I love this movie. Why isn't Hollywood making more movies like this? So I've heard that I've listened to the Thing commentary track, which is hilarious, but I've heard that this one's also very good. And it, I guess like most of the commentary track, like Kurt Russell's like talking about his son's hockey game that he was at earlier in the day. Like they're just talking about random shit. And then I guess the movie ends and John Carpenter goes, well, sorry, we didn't talk more about the movie. And then Kurt Russell mentions something about, it's like, yeah, but the beer tasted good and the cigarettes weren't stale. Because they were just like getting drunk and smoking cigarettes the whole movie. All right, a couple more trivia facts. So, Jackie Chan was Carpenter's first choice for Wang, but the producers said no because they didn't think that his English was good enough. Would have been a different
What
movie.
year was
if
this again?
86. So this is like, what, 10 years before Rush Hour?
That's such fucking bullshit. If they cast fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger's fucking meathead ass, and all he would do is just like look at his bicep and go, nah.
Oh, dude, Arnold Schwarzenegger's English puts Jackie Chan to shame. To shame.
I mean,
Especially back then.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we get political, but it's true. It's because he's Asian. Like, just Hollywood just doesn't like Asians. There's no fucking Asian movies. There's a huge audience for it. They don't really do it. Like, fucking Matt Damon has to go over to China to do a fucking Chinese movie. Like, they don't give a fuck. Especially in the 80s. Like, they just didn't give a shit.
Amazing.
They didn't give a shit. I mean, Kurt Russell said something about that too. It's like, yeah, I think another reason for the issue, like, of this movie, of it not doing well, is like, I'm the sidekick. The sidekick's the hero, and there's only like 2 white people in this entire movie. Like, that's why it didn't really do well. You can't really blame them there. Kurt Russell had a really bad case of the flu while filming the scene after the brothel, to the point that he was actually sweating that much in that scene. He was like soaked and like super shiny, and that was real.
Wow.
Fucking pro.
Oh my God. I feel bad for anyone who had to like touch him. It's like,
Yeah, that's
oh
the thing.
God.
Like, all those people have to be in that scene with him now. It's
Ugh.
like you're just getting the flu, basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
plague sweat. Ooh, it's great. What love
It's
it.
miserable.
Plague sweat.
The title song, also had a music video, was performed by the group Coupe des Villes, which is just John Carpenter, Nick Castle, who played the original Michael Myers, and Halloween 3 director Tommy Lee Wallace. It's just his buddies.
It's a place at like the end, right?
does-
It's just like,
yeah,
it's like
that
Big
really-
trouble in little China.
Yeah, it's
just like
it's John
it's like a
Carpenter
song
singing.
I would make. Yeah, exactly. Because he like makes his music for like all his movies and stuff. So I'm just like, I literally, as it was rolling the credits, I was like, Michelle's like, oh, don't we want to watch something else? I'm like, I can't because I'm
Must
listening to this
listen
song.
to song.
Dude, I respect John Carpenter so much more now. He is a walking satire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to make a shitty song for the end of the shitty movie.
You like my movie, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. I guess.
He's probably sitting there like, you know what? People are going to buy the movie. There'll be people talking about this on air. Like 40 years from now.
I know. I mean, that's what he does though. Like he makes the music to all of his movies, and that's another reason why I love John Carpenter. It's just I love his music. Like he's a very good musician. Even as cheesy as this shit is, this is probably the worst like soundtrack he probably has from like any of his movies, but still. I mean, like,
well, I consider, it's like, okay, he makes it. Like, imagine like someone walking up to the four of us and being like, okay, we need you to go ahead and make some music for their movie. Be like, we look like Jack. Like, what?
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 I can't play the keyboard. Well, you got 4 weeks till the movie comes out. You better start practicing.
Jesus.
But I mean, like he was such an influential person, like in synth music, to the point that like Donald Pleasance agreed to do Halloween just because his daughter was a fan of John Carpenter's music.
Wow.
Like he was like, oh yeah, I got this guy, John Carpenter, asked me to do this movie. She's like, I love his music. You should definitely do it. It had nothing to do with his acting ability or his directing ability. Yeah.
Sure. I love that. All right. Yeah, I'll do it.
Yep. All righty. Yep. And then also the body count was 46. 46 people died in this movie.
And they all died making this movie. I assume that all the guns were real, right, Max? As I understand it, real bullets are actually cheaper than the blanks. So.
Yeah, just tell Brandon Lee that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Slam. Take that.
Oh, too
I
soon.
got a couple real bullets in the trunk. I'll just hollow these. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, box office game. Do you guys want to guess, or you want me to just tell you?
Yeah, it made 3 packs of bubble gum, and it cost $50 million to make.
Pretty close.
I already know the answer, so I won't say
Okay.
anything.
What about you, Tim?
Yeah, I'm assuming it probably made $30 million, cost like $60 million.
So it cost $25 million to make, which at the time was the biggest budget of Carpenter's career, and it only made $11.1 million.
Yikes.
Yikes is right.
Yeah.
God.
It came out 4th of July weekend, and again, like it didn't get like a lot of marketing. I guess all the marketing that it did get was like, and I saw a couple of these too, just looking up trivia. It was just like newspaper clippings of stuff being like, who's Jack Burton? Where's Jack going? And then I guess in the commentary, they're talking about that, and John Carpenter's like, it's like, who's Jack Burton? He's like, who gives a fuck? That's what Carpenter said. It's like, what does that have to do with the movie? But I think also the issue too is like, it was in the middle of Top Gun and Aliens, which were both like huge hits. So like, it just didn't get any attention. And then also like Karate Kid 2 came out a few weeks before. Like it just had, the competition was just not good. All right. Next segment, alternate casting. And for this, you don't have to do it if you don't want. You can do as many characters or as least or whatever. You guys, you fucking get it.
Okay, so Jack would be, I would put Mike Myers in as Jack. And then my boy who played, Spider-Man, he would definitely
Toby.
do a good Wang. Absolutely. In his fetal form, once again. Like, I don't want him. I want him to be an idea. I want the idea of him. Like, not even he's like a sperm right now. That's what I want.
No, he's probably 10. He's probably a 10-year-old
Was he
white
10?
boy by then. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, throw him in there. It'll
There
be
you
great.
go.
I want Dr.
10-year-old
B.D. Wong
Tobey Maguire.
as Wing.
He could work.
Yeah, I want
Yeah,
Dr. B.D.
I'll
Wong.
take that.
And this isn't like a specific suggestion, but just anybody but Kim Cattrall. Like pick blonde women, pick them off the street. They would do a better job.
That's such a Samantha thing of you to say.
Yeah, it totally.
I mean, what's her name was cute back then still. What's her name? Sarah Jessica Parker. From Footloose era. She was cute.
Put her in there.
That's exactly Max. That's exactly who I was going to be like. You know, it'd be funny if they just had her as opposed to King Cattrall, just like Sex of the City shit from there. Again, I would also love to see Swayze as the lead in this, or just watch Nick Cage go ballistic as him. I think that would be hilarious. I don't know. I just, oh God.
The issue with that though is that Nick Cage is like too obsessed with like Asian culture that he would probably eventually start doing a really, really offensive like Chinese accent halfway through the movie. Because he would think
That's
that he
fair.
was all, it's like, I'm from Chinatown too. My character's from Chinatown. All right. So for recasting for me, I'm just going to do Jack Burton. So you got to need somebody who's handsome, funny. You can pull off the macho man persona while also not being afraid to embarrass himself. So I've got a couple of guys, and this is in no specific order. But the first one, Channing Tatum. I think that him from 21 Jump Street proves that he can do humor in comedy. Thought he was great in that. The second one's gonna be Ryan Gosling, but the Ryan Gosling from The Nice Guys, because he was like as clumsy as Jack Burton in that movie.
That movie is great.
I love that.
Yeah.
Shane Black, that's why. But like that's specifically like the scene where he like breaks through like the window to try to break in, and then he like forgets that he has to like put his arm back through, and he just completely like cuts all the arteries in his hand. He's
Yep.
like, oh fuck. It's like nearly dies. Like that is such a Jack Burton move.
Definitely.
And then third pick would be Chris Hemsworth. Just after watching him in Thor Ragnarok, which I guess apparently was influenced from this movie. Like they based a lot of Big Trouble in Little China off of Thor Ragnarok, yeah. And also him being just Fat Thor in the Avengers. It's like, okay, he can do the humor too. He's already halfway to becoming Jack Burton. And then the last pick would be Paul Rudd. He could also just nail it.
Yeah.
He's
Those
got
are
a
all like
dark
comedic
side.
actors that are, yeah.
He can do both. I mean, Paul Rudd can do anything, but yeah. All right. Next question. Who is your favorite and least favorite in this?
My favorite was the Three Amigos. Funny enough, loved them because they were the most serious characters in the entire movie. They're the only ones that took the movie seriously. Funny enough. Watch this shit closely, except for anyone else doing martial arts. My least favorite is the Three Amigos, just because they wear very, unwieldy hats. You can't see through them. Therefore, it's hard to throw lightning bolts at people, or attack people with lethal back scratchers, as I like to call them. That is an actual weapon that should have made it into Mortal Kombat, but was in this movie. So, also, I don't understand why one guy could throw lightning bolts, but the other two were just kind of Batmaning it up over there in the corner. Like no special powers, like they're just super smart and rich. I don't understand it.
The
They
other one
buy their
could
way
fly.
in.
The one that had the sword fight with Wang. They were both flying. It just Wang stabs him and gets him. And then the other guy just turns into like a fucking blowfish. I don't know what the besides just being like the most jacked dude in the movie, like that's really his only superpower is that the guy can like bench press more than anybody else.
That's true. So he's super strong. All right. So they're like the Wonder Twins. All right. They're,
Yeah.
triplets.
Just like the Wonder Twins.
Mm-hmm. Plus one.
Oh, just like.
I'll say, so Egg Shen is always my favorite character because he's just like, he's like obviously like not heroic, not handsome, whatever, but like he's just like, I know what I've been preparing my whole life for this. And he's got a bag full of explosive rocks. He's got,
cocaine.
He's got like, cocaine slash,
rocks.
like, yeah, he's got like cocaine and he's got like the, the frozen ice shit. So I always loved him. I thought he was always the best. The person I don't like, or, my least favorite is the reporter friend because she is utterly useless. She serves no purpose in this film. It's not even like at the end of it, she like writes an expose or anything whereof. She's just like there, writes something down, then she's just like, oh, I like Eddie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fuck Eddie.
Yeah, it's like, all right, cool, whatever, but utterly useless.
There's something when Eddie like says to her, she's like, it's like, man, like they explained the whole like Lopan thing. And she's like, man, I must be really ignorant to think blah, 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 blah. And then Eddie just goes, you should.
That's a great segue because my favorite is Eddie. Eddie's the man. I mean, Eddie is dressed immaculately throughout this. Look at that fucking like silk shirt, that purple silk shirt with that yellow tie. I mean, get out of town, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta agree with Mike. My least favorite is that reporter. It's like just get out of my movie. You don't need to be here.
But don't they end up hooking up later? Like, doesn't he like basically he's the only one in the movie who like gets the girl?
Yep.
Eddie takes her to Pound Town, bro.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the other
Kung Pao
guy
chicken.
who gets the girl is, Wang, because his long lost love is Rita.
He's already engaged to her. He already
He's
got that girl.
He
Whatever.
He saved her. He saved her from the monsters and such. So
Yeah.
whatever.
That's true though, Eddie. Eddie's got some fucking swag and he can back it up because like he's like right there with Wang the entire time, like beating up all those other bad guys. Like
Yep,
he never
exactly.
falls down. I don't think he ever gets even punched in the face. Like he just fucking cleans house.
Eddie has all
just-
the inside info about Chinatown. He can hold his own in a fight. He dresses like a boss. I mean, I'm telling you, Eddie he's the sleeper here.
It's true. Good call, Tim. All right, my favorite's Jack Burton. I mean, just one of my favorite movie characters of all time. My fantasy football team's been called the Jack Burton Trucking Company for like the past decade. So,
Oh my god!
and my least favorite is just gonna be the Fox Marketing Company for just advertising this movie like it was Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Not smart.
No,
Not smart.
not good. All right, time for the Hold My Popcorn ratings. Prepare to be judged. What would you rate Big Trouble in Little China?
I give this movie about, let's say, 30 out of exactly 7,461 questions that were answered. So that is 30 questions were answered out of that many that I actually have about this movie that never will be answered ever.
I'm gonna give this the percentage this movie would have been made better by not having Kim Cattrall in it. Divided by the arc tangent of Eddie's swagger, all multiplied by Jack Burton's moccasins.
All right.
I'll go next, and I'll go back to my amazing rating system. I'm going to give this one extraordinarily poorly thrown knife over the dopest outfit I've ever seen in my life, Jack Burton, over just in the probably 77 incredulous regarding monsters and just like general stuff that Jack Burton cannot wrap his mind around throughout the entirety of this movie. That's a hell of a score.
It's the closest thing in which like people are like, oh, the character's the audience. And it's like this in this movie, like the character is the audience. It's just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Called it. Called it.
I'm going to give this 1. I'm happy that Preble liked this movie as much as I did. Out of 2, I'm disappointed that John and Tim didn't like it as much as me and Preble did. To the point that
Damn.
Tim has been on his fucking phone covering his camera partially for the last like 45 minutes.
I love this movie. I did. It's just,
No,
I
we
just, I
enjoyed
don't
it.
think
We
I
really
can
did.
like it as much as you guys do.
Tim's looking for the crawl space to just get into so he can just stop talking about this movie.
I got to tell you, it's a very different taste. Like this is like a real niche, like, these are like the people that like, go to like Rocky Horror and
Yeah.
like throw spoons and do all that random shit. Like
It's
the same kind of people.
it's a definitive cult classic movie for sure.
Yes. Cause now it's like everyone thought it was like the shittiest movie. And now it's like Rotten Tomatoes, like 76% or whatever. Like people like love this
Yeah,
movie now.
The Rock wants to remake it. It's like, fuck that. Do you not have
no,
The
I
Rock
would not
in
have
that
The Rock
movie?
remake this at all. No.
Like, I totally get it because I love Buckaroo Banzai like you guys love this. And yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It's just really weird.
You got to be in the right mindset, which is usually not being sober. And you also, it's better, again, like watching it with a group of people. Because like some
Yeah.
of the shit, like, I mean, after listening to this, you won't have to fucking guess anymore. But some of the shit, like, to some people, you might not think it's supposed to be funny. And then if you hear like 3 people laughing, like, okay, I get it. You kind of just go off of that wave.
Yeah.
Fucking
Can't
thriller
take
ride.
it seriously.
No. All right. Well, I had fun. Sorry, you guys are a little disappointed, but I had a great time.
I'm not disappointed.
We are 2 hours into recording.
I just don't think
God damn it.
I can like it as much as you guys do.
And that's fair.
That's fair. That's fair. I've been this movie has just been my life. Been like not my life. That's an extreme. That's just like it's been like an all-time favorite of mine for a long time. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine other people be able to raise their their excitement to it. But this movie I love it. It's so fantastic.
I don't know if Preble's ever going to be on the show again because I don't know. Every single time I would try to get Preble's attention and be like, "Hey, we're going to do Big Trouble in Little China soon," and then Preble would respond, and be like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm in."
Yeah, exactly. They always talk about all the other movies. Max is like, "Hey, if you guys are interested," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, maybe." Never mind. Then it's like Big Trouble in China's always floated. I was like, "Oh, what's
You
this?"
tell me, and I'll be there.
Exactly.
You want me to do it in person? I'll fucking do it in person.
And I'll come with bells.
All right, well, that'll do it for this week. Stay tuned. Hold the fort. Keep the home fires burning. If we're not back with another episode next week, call the president.
Joe Biden will respond.
He'll come in with
There's also
aviators and all.
It's also a quote from the movie. All right.
I heard that Joe was feeding interns to his dogs. I saw that online from a reputable source.
And you're saying that we're the QAnons, huh? Yeah. I wrote it.
Oh, dude.
I'm the one who reported that, John.
Oh, my God.
No.
Because I've been indoctrinated into the... All right, see ya.
They suspectors. Okay.
Oh, are we actually hanging up?
I mean, we can stay on. We can do it all. Actually, I didn't record any of this, so let's just do it again. Ready? Let's go.
Start from the top, gang.